What's up, guys? It's Christian here, and today I want to talk to you guys about some things that I'm learning as I continue to go about my journey to become the best version of myself. So, why I'm making this video is because I realize that as I'm, reflecting on some things, I think there are some things about myself that I need to work on, and that if I'm not careful and I don't fix these things, it could cause a lot of damage to myself and the people around me. So, um, what I'm reminded of is something I believe I learned from Joe Dispenza, which is that, like, let's say, for example, like pride is something that, me personally, I struggle with. Is that the way for me to make change with that is to be in the same situation where I have two choices, either to act prideful or to act humbly, and I choose to act humbly. And then that is a step forward, so to speak, in me lessening the amount of pride that I have in becoming, a better person to the people around me. Now it's just up to me to continue to make the choice of, being, humble in that situation rather than being prideful. So anyways, I say that to give the example of what, I learned from Joe Dispenza, which is that, you want to, like, people will want to, become a different person, but they'll make the same choices. And those two don't correlate, so they don't see the growth that they want to see. So when it comes to, becoming someone new, developing yourself, it comes down to your choices. And so, that's something that I've had to realize as I go through my improvement journey. And the other thing that with that too is, what you play in your head. Like, I confess, the times that I've, acted, prideful towards people, I've, had moments after those moments and just like sat and wallowed in that pain, like listened to, sad music that, kind of reinforces the thoughts of, like, I'm a monster, I'm a bad person, da 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 da. And, just not been kind to myself in regards to that. And I think, what could really save me, because I don't mean to get on a little side tangent when I talk about this, but I am very hard on myself. And the reason for that is because I know that, like, I remember seeing this quote in an Instagram reel, and it's, I'm not going to say it changed my life, but I remember it to this day, is that if you are hard on yourself, you will basically be able to, compete with and win against this world. But if you are soft on yourself, then the world's gonna be hard on you, right? So, be hard on yourself so that you are, mentally and physically prepared for the challenges that life brings you, right? So that's the idea, the philosophy behind, why I'm so hard on myself. Can that be, can I be so hard on myself that it's really destructive for me? Absolutely. But me personally, I'd rather lean to that extreme than to be so soft on myself that everything's too hard for me and I can't compete, and so I just live a miserable life. So yes, I'm hard on myself. I realize the side effect to that, and I try my best to find that middle ground, that harmony, whatever you want to call it, where I push myself to be the best version of myself, without having the negative side effect of, being of those negative feelings of inadequacy that could, drive me into a dark, depressing hole. So that was a side tangent, and yeah, so what it, meant for me, why I say all that is because there will be times where out of being hard on myself, I will criticize myself. And it will result in me, ultimately developing a negative self-image. And I've had to, you know, right now, most recently, nip that in the bud and realize the truth that Hamza Ahmed really, that's who I really learned this from, is that if you know, like the example that I remember him giving was like him working with, trying to help someone lose weight. And the guy struggled to lose weight because in his mind, he saw himself as a fat man. And so whenever he tried to make progress from that, state of being, he would ultimately go back to the habits that, made him a fat man, because that was his self-image. And so the idea is that you want to change your thoughts so that you have a positive self-image before you actually become who you want to become. So instead of, for me, for example, like instead of saying, I am a prideful monster who hurts people and ruins others as well as himself, I need to say, I am a loving and respectful person who treats people with respect regardless of how I feel. And so of course I think that's just a snippet of the words that I really need to say to myself in order to ultimately just get better when it comes to being less prideful. But that is the idea of it, is that I want to speak better to myself and have a better self-image, rather than having a negative self-image. Because if I have a negative self-image, then like every action that I take is just going to confirm that self-image. And so to recap, the main things that I need to work on, and that I think could help you if you're dealing with a similar situation, is to, number one, have a what was I saying? Is to make different choices when you're change is when, from what I'm seeing and what I'm observing in myself, change is when you have the same situation but you do something different. And so for you to have learned or grown from that, or improved from a certain state of being, you need to make a different choice when you're faced with that same set of choices. And then the second thing is self-image. How do you see yourself? Because that is ultimately what is going to be seen out of you. And you need to go as far as to believe that you are a humble person and a respectful person, for example, while you're trying to stop being a prideful person. So I really hope this helped you guys. This was a very vulnerable video for me to make. It's not the type of image that I want to project to the world of myself, but I think I needed to make this video in order to help a few people. All right, I love you guys. Take care.